This past Sunday at the venue D&B played tonight, Matt Rife performed a comedy set. But for a Tuesday in the Deep South, Dave Matthews Band was not playing around tonight in the hot summer sun and humidity. The D&B post-show stream starts now.
It's your boy Concert Viz 34 back at home.
What up? What up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34.
Yep, so your boy Concert Viz 34 coming to you here.
What up? What up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34. Aria. Okay, so this is Aria, and just tell us a little bit about yourself and about your love for the Dave Matthews Band.
I've been a fan of the band since April 28, 1998, and if you recognize the date, that's when Before These Crowded Streets was released.
Alpine is definitely a better venue than Summerfest, but we'll take it. I think I've been going to shows for about 20-something years.
I always tell people, like, compare DMB to now to when I first started. And I got started, in my opinion, I feel like I got started late. Like, I was at the very end of the band's prime. I feel like that 03 to 06 was like the end of the prime. 07, 08 was like, you know, we're at the very end. And then when Roy passed.
Dave really, this is the thing. Dave has put, Rashawn has been assigned the quarterback of this team. He is the coach, the play caller. He designs the jams. Dave just shows up and plays whatever he's going to play. Alabama, what up? Shout out Auburn. War Eagle. Shout out Tuscaloosa. Roll Tide. Huntsville, what up? Montgomery, what up? Birmingham, what up? Shout out to the legendary Legion Field. Phoenix City, right on the border, what up? Shout out Columbus, Georgia. Mississippi Half Step. Shout out Tupelo. Scuba, Mississippi. What up? Shout out Mobile. Gulf Shores. What up? The former home of Michael Jordan when he played baseball. Shout out to the Barons. Shout out Charles Barkley. What up, what up? It's your boy Concert Viz 34. Thank you for joining the DMB post-show stream. So, the band came back to Sweet Home, Alabama. DMB played a lot of frat houses here in their early days, in the early 90s. And nowadays, they're not guaranteed a show every year. But this year, brand new Amphitheater comes out. Coca-Cola Amphitheater is just completed, just got the final touches last week done. Matt Rife was the first event this past Sunday, comedy show. He's a comedian. And DMB is the first official concert at this venue. Now, what I want to do is we're going to have Kumi DMB come on, but I just want to show you guys the difference between tonight and when this band played Orange Beach, Alabama in 2023. And the reason I want to do that is because I believe, right, everyone has their own opinion, but I believe that the show tonight for a Tuesday in Alabama, where sometimes they have issues selling out venues, filling up venues, pits can be empty, especially when it's hot like tonight was in Birmingham. The band typically plays it safe. But this show tonight was, to me, impressive because this is not how they typically play a Mississippi or Alabama show. Now, you've had some special things here and there scattered in, right? Especially with the two sets years where, you know, this deep South, the western part of the deep South got some pretty cool things, one-off things that they typically don't get. But nonetheless, they play it safe here. And why do they play it safe here? Because typically you have a smaller crowd. You have fans who don't know the deeper part of the catalog. And I want to show you this. Yes, my face is gone. This is Orange Beach 2023 versus Birmingham 2025. And so when we look back at Orange Beach 2023, we had some things that were pretty predictable. When the world ends opening up a show or being in the the 1 or 2 spot is very common. If you're playing a setlist game, you put that as an opener. It's not a crazy thing. Virginia in the Rain plagued setlist energy from the crowd, even though I love this song. When it was played early on in shows in this 2023 touring summer tour, it killed momentum. Old Dirt Hill is okay, but when you have a bunch of, predictable stuff around it, not as much. Madman's Eyes, which again was not played tonight, was something that was overplayed. Honestly, 2021, it was like a rarity, like it only was played in the fall. By 2023, I know I was sick of it being overplayed. And so that's a standard that like people use it as a bathroom break. In 2023, they were starting to use it as a bathroom break. Now you do have Crash Into Me, Jimmy Thing, Brick House, but even so, Jimmy Thing to me is Jimmy Thing. It's something you play at a festival. It's nothing out of the ordinary. And you have that after everything that went away, the band realized it wasn't working. They canned it or shelved it. And then you have So Much Bridge, Too Much. So you're getting a lot of cookie cutter stuff. Now, the highlight, I think, is the Lying in the Hands of God, ABI. But then after that, Gray Street, which I think is a good song, but again, a more radio-friendly, mainstream-friendly song. And then a Watchtower cover, Closer. And then Rye Whiskey and Crush to close out. Now, tonight, how they started was, to me, an upgrade. I don't know. I didn't check the setlist game stats, but I'm pretty sure nobody predicted Stay. If you did, you had the setlist. Stay has not opened up a single set show since 2003. Now, it did open up the electric set of a show July 18th, 2015. That was Deer Creek. But to have that as the opener is a rarity. In a special, unique thing, even if you're not as big on Stay. I don't want Stay closing out shows personally, but it is a fan favorite for some pockets of fans. But to have it as an opener is brilliant. Then to follow that up by Best of What's Around, and then to debut 27, then go right to Billy's, which they've been playing heavier this tour, 10 plays so far. And then you get a Satellite, which is kind of the thing is, we'll talk to Kumi, but it was very hot out there. It was very hot. So I think a song like Satellite, even though it's taxing on Dave's hands, it gives people like Carter a break. And then after that, you get So Right. So those first 6 songs, you're getting things that, you do have this Satellite, but outside of Satellite, it's a great run of songs and a unique opener and stay, even if you're not as big of a fan of that. And then you still continue to get stuff throughout this set, like Line Our Graves, the Maker tour debut. If you had to pick one cover for this show, I'm pretty sure most people wouldn't pick the Maker. They'd probably say Watchtower. Blackjack, Granny, Typical. The Maker is, even though Dave does do a phenomenal job with this cover. Yes, I'm praising a cover, even though I don't want covers in any show, but they're going to play them. But after the Maker, they go 41, Blackjack, Granny. They go right in the Typical Situation, Peace on Earth, Don't Drink, Nancy's. Like, that's a run of a lot of heavy stuff for this band to play. They didn't have to do that. Now, you could say the encore, like Singing from the Windows. I heard people in the Couch Tour, not the people filming. Shout out to, I think it was that Aaron Holly that was streaming. But Singing from the Windows, you did have some people kind of in the middle of it, yapping or yelling, and it's annoying. So it's not a song that lands well at live shows full band because of people want to yap. And then What Would You Say is okay, not the best closer, but again, it's different. It's different. So I just really like the fact that they mix things up. There's one repeat from the previous night where, you only had a couple more, but Orange Beach has 1, 2, 3 repeats from the previous night. So it is both have encore E1s that are tour debuts, but I just think this is a little bit better of an upgrade. The other thing here that I'm covering you on both ends. Take a look at this. One song was a repeat from the previous show, Granny, and who doesn't want Granny, right? Maybe someone doesn't, but Granny is a universally loved song for the most part. It's as close as you're going to get to having the most people like it. Then there's one repeat from Orange Beach. So if you're an Alabama fan, maybe you just can't travel outside of the state for DMB, or maybe you only go to one other show out. If there's no Alabama, you only go to one other show, maybe in Florida, or you go to Mississippi or Tennessee, wherever they're playing any given summer, because Bama doesn't always get a show. And so you have one other song repeated. They played a whole different set. Now, every year we talk about DMB, Dave does look at the set list, right? From previous tours in the state, in the region, right? The late Ian Kuhn used to help out and give his suggestions. And in his memory, Dave is really playing some songs for him, right? The rest of the band members, they sign off on the set list. They, like, if they say, hey, I don't know if I could do this one, it's subject to be changed. But this is incredible where you're seeing one repeat. You're seeing stuff like Stay was played 4 shows ago, as was Best of What's Around, but then in Satellite. But then you have a couple songs from Charleston Night 1 that get some highlights. And then you get some stuff that have been played, just various levels of things. You have some 4s, show gaps. You have 4s, 5s, 2s, 3s, obviously the 1, and you have a bunch of tour debuts. So you're getting a little bit of everything. So you're getting stuff that, I saw this earlier on tour, I want to catch it, like Blackjack, and you're getting it back here. The other thing I'll say is with this show, the Blackjack was a little bit rough, but I will take a Blackjack that's a little bit rough because it's such a rarity. This is the first Blackjack in the Central Time Zone since the Chicago Caravan in 2011. So if you're a Midwesterner that only stays in the Central Time Zone, maybe you go to Deer Creek, right? but you're in this central part of the country, and you went to this show. Boom, there's a blackjack. For many, I know without a doubt, it's always someone's first song, but like I'm sure many people who had never heard blackjack heard it for the first time today, even if they've been at 20, 30, 50, 60 shows, they may have never heard it. And 41 again was a little bit shorter, but here's my thing. The one thing I love about this show, there is not one long form song that I think is too long and redundant and just doesn't have as much energy. What do I mean? Now, again, people like Crush, right? People do like Crush. I mean, the band plays it and people go crazy, but Crush is a song I was worried it was going to come out around tonight, especially this being Birmingham. Instead of Crush being played for 15, 16, 17 minutes, they played Typical Situation, which to me is a better song that has different phrasing and different A, B, C parts of it, so that when they transition to different parts, it's actually entertaining, even though they have the kind of the same set, format of the jams. I think Typical is better than a Crush. It's better than a Jimmy thing, in my opinion. And for someone who lives in Alabama, you're usually going to get a Jimmy thing or you're going to get a Crush. Oh, the last show that we had in Alabama, in Orange Beach, you had both of those. So to have Typical Situation and Lie in Our Graves, right? And those be the longer performances. And then to have 41 needs to be shorter. And they've been doing that. And here's why. The only reason 41 needs to be 10 minutes is if you have a violin guest, if you have Jeff Kaufman actually play the solo that Leroy Moore's like laid down on various performances during his tenure. And by the way, the first show Jeff ever played with this band, he had a 41 sax part solo. So if you're not going to have a sax on there, I think Tim and there was some like buffering on the couch tour, but both of them played less than 32 bars, around 32 bars. Right? So a guest rapper may throw 16 bars down, which is 16 measures, 1, 2, 3, 4, count that 16 times. Both of them look like they had just around 32 bars. And that's it. And then you finish it up. That's if you're not going to have that sax solo, if you're not going to have a violin guest, it doesn't need to be that long. I love Tim Reynolds. We don't need a 5-minute electric guitar solo on 41. There's songs like Sugar Will, absolutely. I love Tim Reynolds on there. That's a great move. But this band, even though some of these shows have been shorter, I think that's for the better. I'm going to Goose this Sunday. If they play a 15, 20-minute jam, I'm going to enjoy it because they actually have variety. But a lot of these DMB songs like 41 are too long. Jimmy Thing is too long for what the lack of variety is. Crush is way too long. You could cut Crush in half and the casual fans would still be happy. You could still do the da-da-da. You could still do that outro. But all the stuff in the middle of Crush is redundant. And again, I know some people may like it. But I like how this show, I don't really see, like you have Satellite, but Satellite's quick. Some of the songs in the last couple of weeks, you've had a 2 or 3 song run where you go, it's a bathroom break run. This show doesn't have a bathroom break run per se. In between, the Satellite is stuck between Tripping Billy's and So Right. Are you going to the bathroom? If you knew this set, would you plan a bathroom trip during Satellite? Probably not. So Right, Stolen Away is a little bit more of a quieter song. Line Our Graves brings it back up. The Maker, quieter. 41, back up. Blackjack, continue the momentum even with the errors. Grandy, Typical, slows it down and then picks it back up. Peace on Earth, it's a new song. Maybe you go to the bathroom during that, but Don't Drink is right after it. So I think this set, it doesn't have, like, there's not that 2 or 3 song run where you're like, all right, here's where I'm going to go grab food. But those are some stats I had. Just wanted to share those graphics with you. What I want to do now, I want to bring on Kumi. So I'm going to reach out to him. I'm going to bring him on this phone because this is kind of a last minute thing. I forgot Kumi was going. But he's on the road. He's trying to get back home to Georgia. So he's going to come on here. Let's go ahead and give him a call.
Hey, Lucas, how you doing?
I'm doing well. You are live on the D&B post show stream. We want to know, what'd you think of this show?
I was pleasantly surprised, honestly. Like, I was going into this Bama show expecting something like 2023. That was going to be kind of cookie cutter. I actually bought my ticket on Monday. It was kind of last minute. I was planning on going for a while, but I was kind of on the fence because I didn't want to make the trip and end up going to, see Jimmy Thing, Crush,
Yeah.
That kind of set. So I'm actually really happy with what, they played today. I mean, 27, Stolen Away, and Blackjack were all things I did not expect to see tonight. So pretty happy with it overall.
Yeah, tell us about this new venue. What was it like to park, get in, get out? What was the experience there?
Yeah, they had a couple different parking lots. I was in S14. I feel like I think this is only the second event they've done here, and I think the parking staff didn't really know where to direct people, like where to tell people to go. We were directed to go into this paved lot, and then I was directed to go even further back into this gravel lot. So I ended up parking there. Getting in was no problem. I got in around 6 or so, but getting out was quite a hassle. I mean, like I said, they didn't know what they were doing yet. So there was 4 lines of cars all converging into one exit, which was not smooth. So it took about 20, 30 minutes to get out of there onto the road at least. So I think they'll figure it out. They just got to work out some kinks.
Gotcha. Yep. So we had the Matt Rife comedy show. That was the first event this past Sunday. D&B is the first concert here. I don't know if you noticed this, but this is something I wanted to bring up with you on here. Dave took out, I'm going to show the viewers this drop D guitar. You guys probably know it already, but Dave, right as Don't Drink the Water was getting ready, he had his drop D tuned Rosewood Spruce Top in hand, played it a little bit. You could hear the D. He was the high D and the mid D. And then what he did is he gave it back to Craig, and then he got the SJ standard 6-string sunburst, like the sunburst type color. We'll bring that up for the fans here. And he played Don't Drink the Water still with the drop D tuning with his guitar that you see him with standard tuning.
Yeah, I noticed that, and I was like, I saw, Craig back there. I saw Tim get the V-shaped guitar, and I thought, Don't Drink is coming. And then I saw, Dave get the guitar from Craig, and I don't know why he handed the guitar back and got the other one. I don't know why that was done, and I thought maybe they're going to change the set list and not play Don't Drink. But then it turns out it was Don't Drink, so I have no idea why they did that. But it was interesting to see that they did that. Do you know why that?
My best guess is there was an issue with the tuning, or the electric pack that gets it, the monitor that gets the signal, the wireless signal from the guitar to there, or something with the string, because with that humidity.
There was a lot of popping strings tonight.
I was going to say 3 strings at least, right? I saw 3 strings on the couch tour from 2 songs.
Yeah, I think it was during Granny, maybe the first one, and then I think Nancy's was the second one. I could be wrong, but something in that range. But I mean, it was pretty crazy to see. Dave kept playing through. Like, he finished Nancy's with 2 strings missing on his guitar, which was cool. But no, I mean, I think he's been popping strings a lot recently. I guess it's the humidity. I also noticed that he did that in Charleston one night. He did it in St. Louis as well, which is pretty crazy. I haven't been to the Smith run of shows where he's popped strings that often.
Yeah, definitely the humidity. I know as a guitar player myself, the strings, the wood and the strings, the heat changes both of the tension and the way that the guitars are set up. And so when it is more humid, your strings are lighter. You can it's easier to strum, but those strings are more likely to break in a humid environment like Birmingham was tonight. What did you think of that stay opener? Did you even expect, it hasn't been done in a while.
Yeah, no, that was crazy. I mean, the opener and the closer both were kind of complete wild cards to me. I didn't expect a stay opener and a what would you say closing song. which is pretty cool. I mean, obviously they're not like the two songs I necessarily want to hear at a show, but seeing them in different spots makes it a lot cooler. Like, you know, I think that was the first day opener in like almost 20 years, maybe over 20 years in a one set show.
Yeah, 2003 was the last time it was in a one set show as an opener.
So seeing that alone is pretty cool for, you know, a fan who likes to go to a lot of shows a year, and that's something I can, you know, hang my hat on, if nothing else, on this show, you know.
Walk us through Blackjack. It sounded like there was a little bit of a challenge for Dave.
Yeah, for me, I was pretty happy to see Blackjack again. I saw it in Charleston, but it was cool that it made a reappearance. But it definitely, I don't know if they fully worked out like the lyrics. I know Dave is scatting a lot at the beginning, but it's still a work in progress of being like a complete kind of song, I feel like.
Gotcha. But hey, I'll take, like you said, I think it's cool that they're working with that instead of playing another, like they could play When the World Ends instead. But no, they're trying out Blackjack. I like the effort, even with some of the challenges there. And so how was the sound there tonight? And where were you at?
Yeah, the sound was great. I don't think it missed a beat. I was like right behind the pit. I wanted to get a seat tonight just in case we had a cookie cutter set where I could, you know, have my spot guaranteed.
Yeah.
And sit down if I needed to. But I was about 3, maybe 4 rows behind the pit. It was actually a good spot. I got lucky with my seat. But there was like a sound. There's like 2. So we were all the way to the right, 3 rows back at the pit. So we weren't like centered. I was like kind of, looking kind of almost side, but still kind of center. And there was like a big sound. There's speakers on both sides of the stage. So there was one large set of speakers right by me. So the sound wasn't a problem at all in my section. And overall, I feel like the venue is really cool. I mean, they don't have a lawn. It's all seats. I'm sure you've seen pictures of it, but it's a really cool concept. And yeah, the sound was great too.
And how was the heat tonight compared to your Charleston shows?
Yeah, no, it was hot, man. It was really hot. Like, I think it was like close to 100. Charleston was a little different because I waited outside in line to get in for early entry and then to get in the pit. And the pit was also beaming sun on me. I think if I had to do that here, it would have been a lot worse. Like, it was definitely a lot hotter. And, you know, I think just for me, Charleston was a little worse just because of my circumstance. But if I had to do the same thing here, it would have been worse today for sure.
Gotcha. And I'm gonna pull up the poster here for everyone. But do you know if the poster actually sold out tonight?
Yeah, I don't think it did. I did take a bathroom break during Satellite to go see, you know, just kind of look around the venue. I thought we might have a bad run there, but I ended up missing Billy's and a little bit of So Right, unfortunately. But I did see the poster was still available, so I don't know if they sold out. That was, you know, early in the show, so maybe they might have sold out later on. But the venue, when you walk in, there's only one merch tent. Like, you walk up to like this kind of circular opening, and there's like one merch stand right there. It's a big merch stand, and then you walk either left or right to go towards your seating, and there's like bathrooms along that kind of wall, like next to the merch tent, and then the seating is like behind the circular area. So it's kind of like a big circle with only one merch tent in the front, and then bathrooms on the sides along that. So you have to walk like behind, like around all your seating to get to the bathrooms, if that makes sense.
Gotcha. Okay. Because we're showing video of like some of the drone shots they had, and essentially we can see. I'm gonna pause it here, where it's like almost like a bowl of seating.
Yeah.
You get out to the sides, and then behind the amphitheater seating are like what looks like concessions, bathroom, all that stuff. So you can't just there's no if we're like at a football game, there's no exit tunnel that you can leave your seating, go through the tunnel, and go to a concourse. You have to literally go out on the sides. And I'm gonna make this bigger for everyone at home so they can see this, because this is a very unique setup. And the other thing that shocked me is, you know, with this one, Allianz Amphitheater as well, they're building these new amphitheaters, Orion, also in Huntsville, not, just in its, early stages of having shows. They're not building any roofs like Alpharetta. They're not doing fans at the top of the roofs like Tampa and Alpharetta have in the Deep South to get some circulation. They're just building the bowl. The stage has a covering, but you're kind of at the mercy of extremely hot temperatures.
Yeah, I don't know how it's gonna turn out because if I was on the other side of the stadium or the venue, like if I was on the left side, those people on the left were getting beaten by the sun. So I was lucky to be on the right side where the sun wasn't going down. But
yeah,
I can only imagine what it would have been like on the other side. So definitely, I'm not sure if that's gonna work out in the long term, not having the roof and the fans.
Yeah, it's very, very interesting. Any other thoughts about this show as you're heading back towards home, Georgia, and getting ready for Alpharetta?
Yeah, well, I'm happy that they left a lot of things on the table for tomorrow, for sure. But I also wanted to just say, I think Rashawn played really well tonight. I think I was next to a son and his dad, and the son was in his college age, and his dad had only seen Dave in the 90s, and his son had never seen him before. And they mentioned to me how Rashawn was like elevating the game, like this guy had seen him in the 90s and hadn't seen him since, right? So he was really, I think Rashawn played really well on Stolen Away, and I think also 41 is when the guy next to me kind of mentioned that. So just a shout out to Rashawn,
Yeah, he played the 32 bars there, and he gets the last solo has been the regular thing there. So and he is the person, if you guys are newer to the fan base, he's in charge. He's the quarterback of some of the organization of the jams, the how, what he'll have Jeff play things. If there's a guest, he'll work with that guest. He is the one that Dave relies on, like Leroy used to in some capacities, formulate, how they're going to play certain things, even if they're playing similar songs, how they may mix it up slightly night over night. So salute to Rashawn and what he does. He's also the reason Buddy is in the band, and Buddy's been the big morale booster for this band post from 2018 to present, and that's because Rashawn was the one who said, hey, we want him. They both worked together. Ironically, for Atlanta star Usher, they toured with him. They're the 5701 tour, I believe. And then also part of Confessions. They were touring and together with Usher. So thank you again, Kumi. Safe travels as you're on the road now back to the better southern state, Georgia. Come on, Alabama or Georgia. Sorry, I'm picking Georgia. Sorry, no, it's a no-brainer. Anyway, have a good one.
I appreciate it again, Marcus. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
Talk to you soon.
All right, bye.
Bye.
All right, so there you go. And so yeah, this is some video footage that I just had played of this new theater. But I find it interesting, but I think I have a kind of an educated guess on why these amphitheaters are being built like this. Let me bring back up the video just so you guys have something to look at, I guess. Here's the thing. Arenas, football stadiums, and even sometimes ballparks, they have a huge emphasis on keeping up to date with the latest technology, because that means they can host events. They can host larger scale concerts. I think about Fenway Park, which has a lot of, they host a series of concerts every year. D&B played there, but that's a big revenue builder for the Red Sox. I think about a lot of these arenas, Amalie Arena in Tampa, that hosts a lot of events, from Frozen Fours to women's college basketball this year. My UConn Huskies won, to other things, right? There's more money coming in and more motivation to make more money by upgrading these arenas and football stadiums and baseball stadiums, because you're going to get extra revenue. These amphitheaters don't, as much as you see these things full, they don't have 41 home games or 41 events a year. especially a venue like this in Birmingham. They're not going to have 41 events. This year, they may have a more beefed up touring schedule to sell this to the city, to sell more season tickets. But in the years after this year will probably be one of the best years of events here, because they want to sell this thing and get people sold. Next year may be a little bit less less. They may have a couple less shows. But the cost to build these venues is very expensive, and the margins are very tight. As much as, Live Nation, you could say, oh, they make all this money. They're not investing back into these amphitheaters in high amounts because these amphitheaters only have shows for part of the year. If these things were used year round across the country, it's a whole different thing. But it's not. These things are used for a couple of months, and you may still, like venues like Tampa, right? Some venues in the Deep South, they don't get as many shows because a lot of the Southern country acts, either they're playing a small fair or festival, or they're playing a large stadium. And so you don't get a lot of acts that hit certain markets in Mississippi and Alabama, right? It's just in even parts of west of the Gulf Coast of Florida. You don't get as many events as Miami and that 95 corridor on the east side. So they're not going to invest in this roof. Now, you may say, obviously it would make sense in the Deep South to have a roof and fan, but it still is something where they can get away with this. Think about this. Allianz Amphitheater, which is the project Live Nation and DMB's manager, Corin Capshaw, put together. That's in Richmond, Virginia. They built that thing in Richmond, which gets very humid. Maybe not as humid as Birmingham, but I've been to Richmond, Virginia in the summertime. It's humid. It has no roof. And so they're building the skeleton of the amphitheater. They're getting something new to get acts to come there. And these acts are checking out these new venues because even for the musicians themselves, they have a stage covering. They have brand new facilities that were literally just built based on 2023, 2024, 2025 standards, as these venues have taken some time to put together. So they were looking at stuff in 2023. What do musicians need? What amenities do they need? Then they build it in 24, and then they finish it in 25. So as they're planning these things, it takes years to plan. These venues have everything the artists need. The fans also in a Birmingham, Alabama, in a Richmond, Virginia, which desperately needed a venue, they're going to go still check this out. And these venues from Allianz in Richmond to the Orion, I think it's the amphitheater in Huntsville. Is that the Orion amp? And even this one, the Coca-Cola amp in Birmingham, they have some unique things. They have, these have, some pretty cool seating and sight lines that are more modern than some of the older amps. And Allianz Amphitheater has a lawn that's pretty much like the upper level seats of a pavilion. That's how close it is and intimate it is. So you have these venues that have better sight lines, more intimacy. You're gonna now on a summer in July, you're gonna be really hot, but the sun does go down, and you just hope there's no severe thunderstorms. Now, some of these venues are gonna be rough for the rain. It starts to rain or something like that. These venues are gonna be miserable, but it's all about the luck of the draw. For years, Bonnaroo didn't have as many issues with rain. And this year they had a crazy flood out. It's been very rainy along the eastern, seaboard and into Tennessee. So it's just one of those things where they're going to build it. They're going to book events. They're still going to fill these things up for some popular acts that come in these cities like Birmingham, cities like Huntsville, that Huntsville's their venue's already been built, right? DMB played it some years ago. I think it was 22 that they played Huntsville. They've already played there, and that venue is already continuing to build up its list of artists. But you're getting these markets that weren't as competitive, but they're also growing markets. Richmond is growing. The gap between Richmond and Northern Virginia is pretty much they're just building everything in between there. And Birmingham, Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama, people are moving to the South, right? The cost of living is lower, even though it's rising in some parts of the South, like Atlanta and Miami and all that. But nonetheless, people are migrating for South. And so as these places are looking to continue to grow, they want to have entertainment. And so they're going to do what it takes to build it. And that even means cutting corners and not building a roof. Where, again, arenas and stadiums, they can't get an event if they don't have the state-of-the-art stuff. You're not getting you're not going to be an NCAA tournament host in as much frequency if you don't have certain amenities and technology in your venues. So every year you'll see sometimes there'll be venues like about to close. They're a couple years from closing or 5 years from closing, and they're still upgrading their scoreboards until the end. The Philadelphia Flyers are about to, and the Sixers are going to have a new venue be built soon, I think in the next 5 years or so. But they just upgraded the scoreboard a couple years ago for their current venue, Wells Fargo. That's just the name of the game because Philly gets big concerts, big events, conventions, things like that because their venue is up to date, even though they're going to knock it down in the next 5 years or so. And their new venue is going to be right next to it. As they do in the South Philly complex. Patrick says the poster was gone when he walked out. I wonder, so maybe it was sold out. Let's bring the poster back up here. I thought the thing I like about this run of posters is there's no methane. So like this poster here, it's got mixed reviews from, poster. Every poster gets mixed reviews, but this poster, how it's like just everything about it doesn't seem like it's another cookie cutter methane poster. That's been the problem the last 5 to 6 years, in my opinion, is we've had these generic methanes pop up. This is something different. You got some foxes, you got a fire dancer TV glass shatter, right? You got some snakes right in there, and butterflies and mushrooms. So I think it's cool to have different artists come in and make something like this. That's different. If anyone did tape this show, if anyone has audio recording of this show, I would say obviously you're probably going to post it or comment if you watch this video. One of the things that it appears is that there's not a taper that was at this show. There was a little bit of a thing where, sometimes things fall through. Sometimes things are just not in the cards. This is one of those nights. The DMB, I mean, I'm very connected with some of the tapers that that work together to cover these shows and record the audio for us, because if they don't record it, we're at the mercy of DMB's releasing that show. And it's unlikely a Tuesday show in Birmingham is going to get a live release anytime soon. Maybe one day they'll release all the audio and it'll be an app after the band retires. And, maybe that'll be one thing, we get soundboard audio from the band's soundboard recordings. But for now, we don't have that. So we're at the will of tapers. And we'll be having I'll be talking soon and having some things because we want more tapers in this community. Trust me, there is no gatekeeping in the taper community as far as allowing new people in. There is a need in the Deep South, and again, we'll have some stuff. Just stay tuned because I want to do some things to kind of really promote what these awesome people do who tape these shows. But there is a need for people to learn and record it. And the thing is, you can record this audio once you learn about the gear, and then it can always be sent to someone else to fix it. There are times where the audio has some issues, and one taper will send the files to another taper and they'll fix it up, and you'll never know. You guys will never know because you just hear the tape that's released. People that right after the show, they'll be like, oh no, I did this wrong. I need this fixed. And they'll send it to another taper. They'll fix it. And then the tape's up in 2 days. Everyone who's part of this taper community selfless, hard. They work way too hard. They overwork just to get this stuff out to you guys. And even sometimes when there's delays, there's a reason for that is beyond, like, they have to get, there's issues that they have to get fine tuned that, again, may take a couple different other tapers stepping in to help. And so it's unfortunate. I really hope someone was there, someone was in the shadows, and, or maybe they had a stealth rig where you don't see the actual taper stand for their mic, and they have some sort of stealth audio, some other way where maybe they're just holding something, or it's in the, either way. I just really hope, but it really is unlikely. Just to tell you, it is unlikely that someone taped this with proper taping equipment, the mic and stand and everything that's needed to get the audio that you get from this. Tomorrow we'll talk, well, I'll try to remember, but we'll talk about the poster for Wildlands that came out. And but I really want to say this band, to play a show like Birmingham, to hear comments from the couch tour. I know, like, just in between songs, I think it was Aaron was mentioning, like, Carter looked pretty gassed. It is impressive. Oh, I do want to show. This is one thing that if you are going to the Coca-Cola Amphitheater, thank you to Chris Cawley for sending this to me. He was tagging me and stuff, giving me a lot of insight from the venue. This chicken and fries basket plus the water was $28.60. So have your money right. Have your money right. If you're watching this and maybe you're not even a DMB fan, but you saw Coca-Cola Amphitheater, the algorithm pulled it to you. This was $28.60, which is absolutely wild, because I typically think that concessions down south are slightly cheaper. Depends on the game or event. But up here, Madison Square Garden, Fenway Park, it's extremely expensive. Like, a beer at Fenway Park is even more expensive than Yankee Stadium. Fenway always has, like, one of the highest costing beers in the league. They're always, like, top 3 dead or alive beer costs. And so at Madison Square Garden, when you get a chicken basket like this, it may run you now. I didn't get food last year, did I? I think I got pizza last year. I typically don't buy concessions anymore at shows, especially at MSG. I'll go buy food before so many options in New York City. But I digress. Like, the chicken baskets plus the water combo used to be around 20. Now inflation's hit, right? And so maybe it is more, but $28.60 for the 3 chicken strips and some fries and a water? That seems crazy. But thank you to Chris for looking that up here. And what else did Chris have? Let me just see some of the stuff, because Chris was giving us some things here. In Rapunzel, there was an ad lib. Chris said, I got to take a shower, because Dave was, like, saying that. What else? Chris said it's a great venue. And Dave messed up Blackjack, and Rashawn got him back on track. Oh, here's some this is part of Stay. Let's get this over. This is Chris Cawley on Instagram. Thank you again, Chris, for just passing along this stuff. Here's a little quick snippet of Stay, and let's listen to the crowd reaction here. So Dave has some struggles there with the acoustic, but that acoustic sounds great. Chris was last minute got a special person to get him to the pit, a pit ticket, and so he was able to get to the pit, which was awesome. And acoustic guitar sounds great with this sound from the pit. Just Dave seemed like he was, because you have to go like, I'm trying to even think of when you're doing stay, it's like you gotta play, mute it, and then you have to like stretch your hand out a little bit. It's kind of some funky exercises with your hands there. So I think he just is having some struggles. And again, that humidity impacts the wood on the guitar, impacts the guitar string tension. When you play a guitar and it's very cold, it's harder to hold down those strings, and sometimes that strumming doesn't sound as smooth. When it's like 75 degrees or like perfect weather, 75 degrees is a great temperature, 70 degrees is even better. But like when you get to that 70, 75 degrees, it's the best mix of like sound. When you get to humidity and it's, the heat index is at close to 100, then your guitar gets too soupy and sloppy, and those strings get too kind of wonky and can snap and break easily. It gets too soft, right? It's like, Sidney Crosby playing hockey. So it's that soft, right? Sorry, had to take a shot. It's like Gonzaga in the Final Four, right? So sorry, I couldn't help myself. Anyway, the guitar can really change, and so I give Dave credit and the band credit for sticking in there and playing through this show. Oh, I'll do this one last time. I know I kind of showed you this, but let me bring some of these out. So this is more of the electric guitar. Oh, let me go back here. I'm going to find those pictures. Where are they? Oh, they're here. All right. So this is the drop D 6 string. Like I was saying, I have these diagrams here. And so this is the guitar for Don't Drink the Water, Shake Me Like a Monkey. Dave will play this drop D. There's many other songs. Now, if you see the drop D and the flying, so this is Dave's drop D guitar. So that thickest string at the top is tuned down to a D, right? And so A, B, C, D, E, you tune it down from E to D. And it gives it that little bit more of a fuller sound, and Dave can kind of play Don't Drink the Water and some other songs. But this combination of flying V, so the flying V that Tim has, plus this drop D, is typically going to be Shake Me or Don't Drink the Water. Those are the most common songs with both of these combined, right? Shake Me or Don't Drink. And so Dave comes out with this guitar, right? And this is the triple O. This is the Rock Bridge triple O drop D tuning, rosewood backsides, and a spruce top right there. That spruce top, that's that color you see right there. So this is typically, and the strap is very noticeable. Most people recognize Don't Drink from this strap right here. When you can see it, it looks a little more unique than what Dave uses for the other ones. Now, Dave had this guitar out, but again, he decided to go back to Craig and say, nah, I need to return this. Right. And so you get this SJ standard 6 string with the spruce top, rosewood backsides. Let me slide this over a bit. And so this is the guitar typically that's standard tuning. A lot of songs are on standard tuning. I don't have all day to go over those. But this is the guitar. When you see this guitar, you're almost for sure it's not going to be something like Don't Drink the Water or Shake Me. And so the fact that this was this guitar was then played, and I heard Dave play it on Couch Tour. He started hitting that note. So I think this was one that was set to drop D as a backup, just as an emergency backup, or maybe Craig did it last minute and then gave it to Dave. But he played this style guitar, and he has a couple of these. He doesn't just have one. He has backups because sometimes the battery pack that sends the signal from his guitar wirelessly to then be heard right through the speakers, that dies out, so he has to get a new one. So he played Don't Drink. This is the first known time that I can remember him playing Don't Drink on this in the Rock Bridge era, that he's played it on this guitar, which is associated with standard tuning songs. And then you do have a couple of these. I'll do another 6-string. This is the raised B 6-string right here. So when you have Stay or Leave, right? Stay or Leave is a common one on this, amongst others. You Never Know and many others, but like not many others, but a couple others. O is on this guitar. This one, you have the mahogany backsides and the cedar top. This is the one that is high B or raised B tuning. So if he has this guitar, you're not going to get Warehouse from it. If he has this guitar, typically you wouldn't get Don't Drink, but you did get Don't Drink this time, right? But you're not going to get Stay or Leave with this guitar right here. So these are the three main guitars. Maybe one day I'll do like a whole, we'll go through all his guitars there. But when you can understand, you don't need to understand these guitars. You can enjoy the show. But if you are curious, just by knowing the guitar color, right? The colors that you see here, the sides and the tops, you can kind of have a good idea of what's going to be played along with what everyone else has. Does, Jeff have the Barry sax? Does he have a flute? Does he have, what does he have? You can combine those things too. All right, that's it for today. We're going to close out with what opened up. Stay. This is a video I made when I was in Miami a couple of years ago. Was it last year? I think it was last year. But we'll close out with this. I'll be back tomorrow. ATL. We're going to the Eastern time zone. So tonight was a Central time zone start. 7:30 Central, 8:30. Well, it was like 7:45-ish, right? Or 7:40 something Central. 8:45-ish Eastern. Tomorrow we go back to the Eastern time zone for Atlanta, and then this weekend we go back to the Central time zone for the Chi-Town shows. So tomorrow will be a 7:30 Eastern, and then Friday and Saturday or 7:45 Eastern, you'll see the Couch Tour will have people live around that time. And then around 8:45 Eastern on Friday and Saturday, 7:45 Central, you should expect the band to take the stage. It may be a little off, 5 or 10 minutes, give or take. But that 40-ish, that 7:40-ish local, 7:40 to 7:50 local time is pretty much when most of the shows have seen the start, the band walking on stage and the first notes played. All right, it's your boy ConcertViz34. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.
Just the other day, and it was so hot outside. You could Friday gone. Remember you were talking, and I watched as sweat ran down your face. Reached up and I caught it taste of a good life, or whether right or wrong makes us wanna stay, 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 stay for a while. Then later on, the sun began to fade, and then, well, the clouds rolled over our head, and it began to rain. Oh, we were dancing, mouths open, we were splashing in the tongue taste, and for a moment this good time would never end. You and me, just wasting time. I was kissing you, kissing me, love, from a good day into the moonlight. And now a night so fine makes us wanna stay,